Good evening and welcome to my midweek recap here for the S&P 500 and plan ahead for the remainder of the week. Still in these 21 December 313s I took the other day. I had an order yesterday to add into it at 35, which it actually came down exactly to today and they closed. However, it was not a good till cancel order, so did not get that fill. Oh well, we'll see what happens going forward. I'm still in the June 325s and also those November 320s, which I'll most likely close out soon because I went ahead and got into a different play for the next earnings season. Anyways, price action sold off pretty good here, just like in Apple, and looks like maybe ready for a pullback, maybe try and find some support. We'll have to just wait and see what happens. At the end of the day today in the trade crew chat room, I was saying there wasn't too much volume in the S&P 500 until the last, we'll call it 15, 20 minutes or so of the day, probably not even that long, when basically the volume of the day doubled here. You can see the closing hour of the day had 21.5 million shares. Included in that is about 5 million after hours. So a lot of volume here on the dead low of the day. Maybe that's a bet for continuation down. In my opinion, in an uptrend, it's best to play trades as supports and not breakdowns, even if you have this kind of an ugly day. Um, Real quick, let me get to my trade plan, what I'm looking for tomorrow. I missed this entry. However, if it opens up down here and stays flat for a little bit and starts to climb off of this level, I will go ahead and chase into those. Won't be the best fill, but my risk will be very limited here around 289.30-ish area. If it opens up a little bit higher, I'll wait and see what happens, is because then it may roll over and may actually get some continuation down. No biggie there either. If that does occur, I'll most likely close out those December, those November calls and wait for this lower level here at the 50 SMA. May find support here at about 289 or potentially 288 and a quarter. But I'm going to try and be as patient as possible and wait for my 50 SMA down here. Below there, I have the 200 SMA. I also have a couple of green lines here, which won't necessarily be my favorite levels, so I won't trade as heavy, but I will take a stab at those plays if it does come down that far. We may get a quick sell-off just like we did in February. I doubt it, but just have to acknowledge that it's at least possible. Okay, now that's the trade plan. On to what's going on the higher time frame. As you can see, this month has now done absolutely nothing. Still have a breakout over all-time highs, closed above last month in August. On to the weekly chart, indecision bar after the breakout right here of 286.60. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks above, indecision bar. So this implies there's going to be a range at least between 294 and 288.90-ish area. So we'll see what happens there. As you've already seen on the daily time frame, there's plenty of supports below, at least for my purposes in the trades and the plans that I use. Big volume red bar here on the S&P 500. I went back, see if I still have those arrows on here, and put arrows on the majority of these red bars after a pullback that had a significant amount of volume. So going all the way back, we'll call it about 2 years to where this bull market kind of started, kicked off, whatever. And with the exception of a few candles, almost every one of them signaled a potential bullish reversal. Just like today, where we had volume at dead lows of the day, somebody's buying there, at least there's participation at that level, I should say. To find out if there was actually buyers or if they were overall bullish there, we'll have to wait till tomorrow and see what happens. But as I've always said, in an uptrend, it's better to buy supports than to sell breakdowns. So we'll see what happens. Maybe there's some bears that finally took some profits, locked some move in. I mean, they got a whole whopping 10 points, well, not even 10, $4, excuse me, $4 move here off of highs in a matter of a couple of days. So maybe that's enough for them. They've been in a lot of pain, so market had to give them something. Anyways, I'm still staying bullish. As you can see, uptrend still intact. Breakout over all-time highs still intact. Retest still intact. 50 SMA is coming up to that breakout level. So even if we do get a flash, there's going to be prior all-time high and 50 SMA support right below price. So plenty of things going for the overall stock market. A lot of other names still maintained price at highs, so still nothing to be overly bearish about. If you're one of those bears that's hooping and hollering and screaming, there's a crash, there's a crash, there's a crash, realize that you're betting on those 1% days of the year that just out of the blue something crashes all the way down back to where it came from. It does not happen very often. It happens once every couple of years, not a couple of times every year. So that's my trade plan. These are my supports. These are my ideas. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below. Have a good evening and good luck.